video I mentioned to y'all that we're going to be talking about four real scenarios for SHTF for 2025. And these are not fiction scenarios. These are things that are unfolding right now and can definitely escalate beyond of what we are seeing, and it can definitely become real SHTF scenarios. Now, if you want to know what a really SHTF scenario is, go check out my video. Now, before we move forward, I want to emphasize that this is not about panic. This is not about fear. This is just for you to know and to be prepared. And the only way you can prepare is by knowing what's going on and by you acting accordingly. And again, these are not fiction scenarios. These are ongoing things going on in the world, and it can definitely escalate as we go into 2025. The first one is economic collapse. We are seeing inflation. We are seeing raising interest rates. We are seeing a balloon in national debt. How can you ignore an economic collapse? In fact, I think it's unavoidable. So what steps can you take to soften that economic collapse? Well, focus on food storage. Store as much food as you can. Diversify your savings, precious metals like gold and silver. That's what we had done. You have to do you. I am not a financial advisor, and I hate that I have to say this, but this is the internet, so I have to make that disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do. I am telling you what I have done and what I'm doing. So try to build a barter system with your community. Again, we go back to the whole community thing. It's never too late to start a community. It's never too late to join a community. It is important. Do not take it for granted. Avoid reliance on a fragile banking system that we have. Again, just an advice. Geopolitical conflicts and war. You guys know what is going on in Ukraine. You guys know exactly what's going on with the threats of the South China Sea and concerns over Taiwan. You guys know exactly the issues with NATO and the reports. I will leave it at that because unfortunately I cannot say what I want in this platform. But you guys know exactly what's going on. So, war is a strong possibility. Again, what can you do? Well, stockpile essentials, establish evacuation routes, and practice defense strategies. You don't go to the shooting range? You better start going to the shooting range. Learn first aid, self-defense, and be prepared for civil unrest. Be prepared for civil unrest. Just because we have a new president does not make us immune. Cyber attack and infrastructure failure. Should I say more about this? We have ransomware going on. We have cyber attacks targeting our grid, the water supplies, communication networks, hospitals network, and so on and so forth. It's happening. And what can you do about cyber attacks and infrastructure failure? Well, here's the thing. You may want to consider a backup power system like solar panels, a generator, let's say for navigation, having maps, physical maps. Learn how to use a compass. I know. A lot of people are used to Google Maps and whatnot. Have secure offline copies of important documents. If you can have it physical, even better. Build a low-tech communication plan with your network, aka your community. Don't depend on cell phones. Radios, perhaps, walkie-talkies, something like that. Most importantly, be mindful that if a cyber attack happens and the infrastructure fails, you will be responsible for all of that you are accustomed to. And last but not least, it's natural disaster. Yes, natural disaster will happen whether we like it or not. And this is something that in order for you to prepare, you have to see where you live. Where you live is going to dictate what natural disasters are going to more often happen. If you live in an area that is prone to, well, earthquakes, you have to prepare for earthquakes. If you live in an area that is prone to hurricanes, that's what you're supposed to be preparing for. Essentially, you need to see what natural disasters happen more often in your area and prepare accordingly. And yes, some things can be adapted from one to the other, like having clean water, filtration system, ways to cook and whatnot. But depending on your region, your preparedness for a natural disaster will greatly be different from everybody else. So keep that in mind. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that you all understand that 2024 was a doozy. But we don't know what 2025 have in store for us. So I will encourage everybody to be as prepared as possible, to get on board if you're not preparing, because, well, let's just say that whether we like it or not, the scenarios that I mentioned today are ongoing. It's not theoretical. It's not that if it happens, they are happening right now. And in the case of natural disasters, they will happen whether we like it or not. So prepare the best you can, hope for the best, and always prepare for the worst. With that being said, I hope you have a great one. Like always, rock on, prep on, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.